Live from Paradise Studios in Massapequa, New York, it's Unger the Radar, starring Randy Unger. Brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a tude to match your attitude. Tonight, Randy will be interviewing filmmaker Heidi Elizabeth Phillipson Meisner of the independent drama Darcy. Randy will also be reviewing the new films Summer '03, Maximum Impact, and The House with a Clock in Its Walls, with special guest film critics Jared Albert and C.J. Oakland. And now, here's your host, Randy Unger.
Hey guys, welcome to Unger the Radar. I'm your host Randy Unger, where we talk all things film. And right now I've got my panel of guest critics. We've got Jared Albert and Mr. C.J. Oakland back for more. But first we're going to be interviewing Heidi Meisner of the independent film Darcy. Heidi, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Great. How are you? Thanks for having me on. It's a real honor.
Having you back on again, and we had you on a few months ago.
Yeah.
So how's Darcy?
There's been a lot going on since then.
How's everything going with Darcy?
Darcy's doing really, really well. Actually, we have another film festival coming up in upstate New York at the Columbia Film Festival in Chatham, New York. And I think that the big day for that is October 26th at 2 p.m. So we're kind of thrilled about that. And then there's another one I can't talk about yet, but that's coming up in early November.
All right.
And then I think we're hot on the trail for some distribution. So cross your fingers for us, please.
Okay, got it. So tell audiences a little bit about the film Darcy. It's fantastic. I saw it for the second time a few nights ago. I loved it. Yeah, I had to revisit it. It was that good.
Thank you so much.
What do you hope audiences take away from the film?
Well, it's really been an interesting journey because it was a little bit ahead of its time when we first set about shooting it, and we really didn't know that it would just become more and more timely with the Me Too movement, with everything that's going on. But it's about a teenage girl who is living in the midst of nowhere with her parents who run a second-rate motel, and she just wants to be a normal teen. Of course, she's also slowly coming into womanhood, for lack of a better term, and she's growing up, and she's trying to figure out where she fits in among all of that. The problem is she's sort of surrounded by people who are coming and going from the hotel themselves. They're kind of down on their luck as well, and it's her trying to follow her dreams and figure out how to do it all, but not having the best examples to follow to get there. And as we know in the States, there's been a lot of hard economic times. So I think our youth has been very vocal in saying that we need to start coming up with better solutions and examples for them. And there's just so many different cross-references in which we didn't even see, John Russell Kring and Tracy Kring wrote this. I don't even know that when I said about producing it and we wanted to co-direct it together, we didn't see it would become so timely.
Okay. Now, the cast is fantastic. How did you go about picking the actors?
Well, that was a journey too, and I have to thank our casting director, Caroline Sinclair, so much for that, because she sort of took us by the hand, and I had worked with her before when I was a production coordinator on multiple features that were actually German features shot in upstate New York in the Hudson Valley. Okay. And when I came upon doing my first feature myself, I asked her to kind of chaperone us through this casting process, and she was amazing. So she did a casting for the film, and I think we did several different rounds, then held callbacks, and we had some of the best people come out and read for it from different agencies like Paradigm and Gersh, and it was a difficult decision. I think Jonathan Tchaikovsky, who plays Luke, and of course I didn't really necessarily mention his character so much in talking about Darcy and what it's about, but of course, as in any story, there's this catalyst, right? And Luke is definitely the catalyst in this story. So we originally were looking for someone who had sort of a blonde Southern flair to him, and then comes in Jonathan Tchaikovsky and just blows away the audition. Just took it. And nice. When you see it, he's kind of got this Bronx thing going on. He's like from New York,
He's got a serious Robert De Niro thing going on. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he was raised in the Bronx part of the time. So that was one of those things where I'm an actor as well, as you know, and I used to always wonder, what is it, the casting, you've seen all of the workshops, what are casting directors looking for? How do you prepare for it? Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Well, I can just say from my own experience being on the other end finally and watching all these different actors come in, when you really want that role, when you go after it, when it's genuine, even if they're not necessarily looking for that thing, if you hit it better than anyone else and you're better prepared, you can take it, because that's exactly what he did with the role of Luke. And then we had so many other great, we have David Thornton, who he was, obviously, I don't know if, David Thornton, he's like an indie, at this point, staple. He has been in a lot of films. Many of the, I want to say Nick Cassavetes films. And he committed to the film. We were just so happy to have him playing the father of Aldo.
Nice.
And then, of course, Gus, when we initially auditioned her, she was very young. She was exactly 15. And one of my executive producers had been telling me, just don't go there.
Yeah.
This is your first feature. As it is, you've got a very tight budget. You've got 15 days to shoot it. Don't hire a child actor. You're going to kill yourself.
Were any other actresses considered for the role?
Pardon me?
Were any other actresses considered for the role of for Darcy?
Yes, right. No, yeah. We had some 8-year-olds, and it was so close. But I have to say, she also she was the role. Mm-hmm. She was the role. And there again, Caroline Sinclair, our casting director, said, I really think that this girl has something. Yeah. So I wouldn't, so I leaned upon her a lot. And in the end, she was totally right. Gus is just, wouldn't you agree that Gus is pretty amazing in the film? I think the other thing too is here's this role of characters like 15, 16. It's very hard developmentally to match that if you're 18, 19. It just was. And we tried. Right. It was missing that sort of same essence. And Gus was there, and little did we know at the time when we were doing the casting, but she had some very, very solid parents in acting. And they were a wonderful support to her. So it definitely helped the entire thing. And she led the performance. She led the cast. Yeah. She was a joy to work with.
She's got a serious young Meryl Streep thing going, so that's great.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And, I always felt Meryl Streep mixed with a little bit of, goodness gracious, I hate it when that happens. Brooke Shields.
Okay, I could see that.
Darling.
Yeah. So. That's cool. All right, so tell everyone about your other work, your filmography. What are some of your other films?
Well, as you know, Darcy was the first real feature that I did on my own. I put a lot of time in before kind of venturing out into producing, directing myself. After film school, I just went and started coordinating, and I actually was a precision driver for a while in films like Salt and Whatnot, Tower Heist. And once I got into coordinating, I was really into that just because it seemed to be the place where you learned how to produce from the get-go, on other films, and then production managing and whatnot. So I think that really, really helped me And I've been still using that. Now I'm out in Hamburg, Germany, as you know.
Right.
I'm out here because I'm slated to direct my first solo feature called Maria sucht Josef, which is a German-Austrian co-production, and that means Mary Seeks Joe. So it's a nice Christmas movie, and it has some international flair to it. Has a good cast and a crew, and we're just raring to go here. But I think we're also looking for some more funds until we do that. But it's been great being out here because it's just kind of like sinking your teeth into the culture, the people, how things have changed out here in Europe and in Germany with everything going on, how the people have changed, how the people have learned from history has been kind of eye-opening, especially when we're seeing so much happening in the States right now.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then I'm enrolled in the advanced scene study at UCLA. They have a wonderful screenwriting program. So I'm rewriting and really working and fine-tuning two of my feature scripts I wrote myself.
Okay.
And I can't wait to get it developing those because one is a rom-com and the other is a 1990s period piece.
Like Clueless?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I also just picked up another feature. So I can't. That one's going to be a lot of fun too. That one takes place in Ukraine and Santa Monica, if you can believe it. So lots to do. Oh, and I forgot. Oh my God!
What?
I told you I'm producing a short film in Copenhagen.
There you go.
I'm not bored.
Copenhagen. You are all over the place. That's awesome. So
yeah, well, I think things are finally coming around full circle a bit for me. Of course, you have to work very hard at it, as you know, but it's definitely nice. I lived in Europe in the 90s. I actually lived in Berlin, and I started out doing English theater in Berlin, and ended up being a weather girl, if you can believe it, on international TV. So
random.
To be back here is kind of interesting to be full circle in this way,
That's awesome. Now, you've obviously done behind the camera. Now, do you prefer behind the camera to in front of the camera, or are they kind of equal to you?
They're equal. They're equal. No, I love in front of the camera. I mean, I love it all. It's not really out of like narcissism or anything like that. It's just the ability to have that intimate relationship with the camera is something very special. I think to get a sense of, our human mystery and our human search of this mortal coil, for lack of a better term. I love those little moments, and I love working with the camera. Being in front of it, capturing that second, and feeling like you're taking a story and making it real, and you get to do that with other human beings is I think it's just one of the most beautiful things you can do. And then, of course, behind the camera, it's a little bit more analytical, a little bit more vision, a little bit more business management, and that's the other side of the brain. And I think for me, I never really understood acting as well as when I started to direct. Okay. And I say the same thing about directing too, and it's not necessarily like an ego thing. It's just like I always realized there are those actors who we all have worked with them. They want to direct. They're directing everybody else. They just don't want to get into their own character. And then I think they should be directing, and we all do that. And then there's others who are like directors, and they really wish they could just have that moment and let go of whatever emotions they're processing and put it towards a story. And I think then maybe they ought to be acting again. So I've been directing for a while. I really miss the acting. I loved acting, and Darcy was such a fantastic ensemble. It was one of the most
You were terrific in
really
that role, by the way.
gratifying experiences. Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was a small role, but it was a great role.
That's so cool.
You played the wife of a
Thank
pimp.
you.
That's
I
really.
know, I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So much fun, and I really love to. My fellow actors. God, they're so amazing. So it's really nice to hear you say that. But thank you.
Sure. Now I'm curious. Are there any actors or filmmakers that have inspired your craft?
Oh my gosh. Where do we start? I mean, Well, I got the like one of my favorites is Wim Wenders, and I interned with his company in Berlin like in 2001. So that was like huge because I loved. I don't know if you've seen Far Away So Close or Himmel über Berlin, like Wings of Desire.
Okay.
I thought those were exceptionally poetic, beautiful films that were also political in a sense and historical in a sense. They really told a story from a place and time. So I love that. There's so many. Gosh, where are we even start? Alison Anders.
Okay.
You know, Gas, Food, Lodging. I remember when that came out, and that really. Goodness gracious! Well, Lars von Trier. I think any and everyone who was able to find their own sense of a style and work their craft and get it in a way that they nailed down a story that could have been cliche anywhere else, but they did it in a way that was. It really just made a marker in time for all of us, you know? I mean, come on, John Hughes. What was that to his generation, you know?
Great.
I mean, there's just so many amazing, I mean, Kimberly Pierce, I don't even know where to, like, you know, it's like I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Orson Welles, I'm reading a book on the making of his last film, and the process of that and working with Peter Bogdan, you know, there's just too many people, but I think that's the best part of it, right? I mean, I like to keep focused on people who do inspire me throughout time, and not think about the hard stuff because it's a hard industry too.
Yeah. Now, final question. I know it's late in Germany, so I'll just leave this question for you. That's the last one.
Okay.
What advice do you have for aspiring artists out there in the world?
You couldn't be living in a better time, really. No. I mean, we've got the internet. We've got social media. We've got, even though we like to complain about lack of equality, things are more equal now in so many ways than they haven't been. You've got all the devices in the world, whether it's the iPhone to the Alexa to 16 millimeter, whatever. You've got the means, and you've got people who are better equipped and able to work with you. I mean, it used to be that, like, when I was growing up, like, I just remember people like, what, can you do that? Is that possible? Can you become a director? Can you, what? That's just something that crazy people went out and did. Like, you just didn't do that. And now I think so many people did it. I mean, even my daughter, she's 13, and she just came and she's like, yeah, I wrote the script, and I read it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good, we got to make this, you know? So I think you just have to, like, get into the books that, like, I don't care if they're self-help books or whatever, that just encourage you to actually follow your gut instinct and make these things happen, because it is possible, you know, and then surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are positive, who will encourage you, right? Because that's really, at the end of the day, for lack of a better term, your tribe, right? And they either buoy you up or they push you down, and that's your decision ultimately.
Wow.
And that would be my advice. I think education. I mean, so much of what I've done has been apprenticing with people, has been serving others, has been getting my education. I'm still going back to school all the time, getting my MBA right now, because I learned how much business there really is to directing and managing and leadership and all of these other things, right? And the money and the finance. So just don't, I mean, life is too short to be unhappy with yourself or others. And I think that, you know, just go after it and then continue to feed that hunger by education or following up on more experiences. And don't always make it about you. It's about what you can do for others too. So
great. Awesome. Words of wisdom from Heidi Elizabeth. Thank you so much for your time tonight. This has been great. And the movie is Darcy. It's amazing. Everybody go see it. And we look forward to seeing your future films. Thanks, Heidi.
Oh, Randy, can I plug my Facebook for Darcy?
Plug whatever you want. So.
And thank you so much.
Oh.
Thank you very, very much. And hopefully next time I'll see you in person.
We would love that here at the show. That'd be great. Heidi, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, take care. Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, guys, so we're going to have a short break for a commercial from our sponsor, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back, guys. This is Unger the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger, and this is our film review segment where we talk all things film. And I want to welcome a newcomer to the couch, Mr. Jared Albert. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Sure, it's fun. Thanks for flying in from Miami.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just for this.
Just for the
Yes.
And Mr. CJ Oakland, veteran of the show. How are you doing today?
Served here many times.
Yeah.
A lot of PTSD from it.
I know. And you're still coming back.
So many bad movies.
I know, and we have a few more today,
Yes.
unfortunately. So let's get right into it. This is a movie Jared and I only saw, and it is so bad.
Yeah.
It's called Maximum Impact, and is an action thriller with Danny Trejo, Tom Arnold, Eric Roberts, and I think it's either Daniel or William Baldwin.
Yeah, one of them.
One of the Baldwin.
They're hardly in it.
Yeah.
So
So basically, it's about international espionage and intrigue, and the plot really goes nowhere. It goes everywhere. We don't know what's going on. There's a lot of bad action, a lot of horrible acting. And Jared, what did you think?
yeah, no, I thought it was really bad. Yeah, just like laughably bad.
Yeah.
I was surprised. They seem to have a huge budget for this.
Yeah. Well, for Danny Trejo's wallet.
I guess maybe I don't know if Danny Trejo or Eric Roberts or Tom Arnold got. I mean, I feel like Tom Arnold maybe.
Maybe they all split it.
I don't
in some
know,
way.
but yeah, it was just horrible. I feel like it was like a 10-year-old's version of how the government works.
Yeah.
Because it made no sense. It was about a secret mission with the head of state. He was meeting with a Russian equivalent.
Right.
And then his granddaughter somehow sneaks onto the private jet filled with FBI or state agents. And
Secret Service, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like Secret Service would monitor that.
Yeah. It seems like
You could easily just say, like, the granddaughter's like, Grandpa, can I go to Russia with you? And it's
And
like,
she did
okay.
ask.
And just have, like, a Secret Service guy watching her. Like, you could just do that.
To be fair, she did ask, and he said no.
Okay.
So she did sneak on without anybody knowing.
Right.
But yeah, no, just really bad.
Right.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense.
It was terrible.
And I think the problem was there were just way too many characters too.
Right.
Between the Russian people and there's some Chinese characters and the American characters, it was just way too many.
I actually was interested in seeing this movie for Tom Arnold because
Yeah.
I really liked his work in True Lies.
Yeah.
And Carpool to an extent.
Right.
But in this, I was like, I was waiting for his role, but then
horrible,
he
horrible.
shows up as a guy with a small bladder.
Yeah, like that's the gag.
Yeah,
throughout the movie.
he has to
is
pee
that
every
He has to
50
pee, and I think it's because the female agent, was boxing with him, and
Right.
she hit him in the stomach, and like for the rest of the movie, he always running and peeing.
And you mentioned a cliche before the show, how they always have a boxing match between a tough woman,
Yeah.
and a guy who's like all talk, but
Yeah.
the woman shows him.
And they're in the FBI or the Secret Service like academy, and they're boxing, and
It's so bad.
really bad. But yeah, Tom Arnold especially bad in this.
Yeah.
I feel like his lines were he got it done in like a half a day.
Right. And all the actors filmed their scenes in different
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
So they never shared the screen together.
No.
So, like, you never saw the actors, like, the big name actors were
Yeah.
never together. They just
Right.
kind of
No.
shot their own day and just.
Especially
Yeah.
Daniel Baldwin, who
That sounds very disappointing.
he's in
man.
front of a webcam the whole movie.
Yeah, he's on a webcam
Really?
the entire time. It's just a webcam.
That could easily be his living room.
And it looks like he did that in like a half an hour.
Yeah.
From his living room, his actual living room.
Yeah, probably.
He's like, okay, guys, I did my practice for we'll shoot the real thing. It's like, no, we can use this. Are you sure?
Now, CJ, you've covered a bunch of bad movies, more than you can count.
Yes, I've watched a lot of bad movies on my own and some from you. So
Yeah. Do you remember any horrible action movies that you reviewed on the show?
From here, there was one where it was like the Inferno, where it's like a towering Inferno knockoff where the skyscraper
with
goes
Claire
on fire.
Forlani and the
Where I actually really liked her, and I'm like, if you had made this like, it's clearly kind of a skyscraper with like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, where you're like buildings on fire and the family's got to get out. Like, you're kind of ripping off that, and I get it. And if it was Claire Forlani, like, scaling the side of a building to save her kids, I would have been all for that. That would be an amazing reversal.
She scaled the elevator shaft. She like jumped.
Yeah, but it's so poorly done, because it's like they started the movie showing her rock climbing, and it's like she's actually like doing like a rock climbing thing, like on the side. I'm like, okay, she's actually got muscles here. She actually has skill.
If they expanded on that,
you could have this like her climbing over something, like over some flames. But instead, it's like she climbs one elevator shaft, and that's the end of the scene. And then they're saved by firefighters, and it's like, but there's not a lot of action or tension there.
Unfortunately, most of these B or C action movies, they need a lot of love, and they need publicists to really promote them. But it's sad that
it's just a lot of missed opportunities of like, what could make this better? Like, I didn't review it for you, but I saw Mile 22 with Mark Wahlberg, and I was arguing about this movie before because I'm so angry that this movie was made that it's like, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a terrible B movie, and that's fine. It's just Mark Wahlberg and Ronda Rousey and one of the actresses from Walking Dead. Like, they just show up, they shoot some guys, you have a few action scenes, and that's all you need. And it was so messy and incomprehensible what was happening. Like, the plot was all over the place and kept trying to cram in so much stuff. And they kept trying to pretend it's like this tense political thriller when really it's like you just have Russians and CIA people keep saying stuff, but they're not actually in the film at all. And it's like the actual actors are just kind of in these terrible action scenes. Yeah. And they had Iko Uwais, who's one of the best martial artists working today. Like, he's from The Raid. He is fantastic. I've seen him do some amazing stunts. He can do it himself. And every time he punches someone, they chop it up 3 times. So it looks like where an actor like goes to punch and you see a different fist hit someone's face and then they pull back, and it's like Scarlett Johansson in all the Avengers movies where she's not actually doing any of the action stuff and they edit it to look like she is. Yeah. And they did that with an actual martial artist who really can do these stunts, and it looks so bad because you're making it look like, why are you editing it this way? Why are you taking away from it? You can do a one take of Iko Uwais jumping in the air and kicking 2 people in the face. He can do that. I've seen him do it, and it's amazing. And you're like, no, we're going to shoot it in 6 different shots, and it's going to look awful. And that's how we want it to be.
That's the state of action movies today, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So moving past Maximum Impact, which is total garbage.
Yes, do not recommend.
Yes.
Do you do like a star, like a star
we don't
rating?
Typically, but out of maybe 5, how would you?
Out of 5, half a star.
Half a star.
Or 1.
It's just 1. Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It's just I if you somehow get like a free screening pass, maybe.
Yeah.
But I would not pay for this movie.
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
Just awful.
Really, really bad.
Yeah. Skip it. Maximum Impact. No.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, if you asked Tom Arnold about this movie, he would have no idea what you're talking
He wouldn't remember he did it.
No.
He would just think, well, why are you filming me?
Yes, he does not remember doing this.
He actually does have a small bladder.
Yeah, he accepted the cash.
No. All right, guys, so movie number 2, a lot better, Summer '03.
Yeah.
And it stars a young Joey King. She's a 16-year-old girl who's thrown into chaos with her family after the grandmother dies. But just before she dies, she leaves some startling revelations that kind of shake things up within the family. And it's basically her trying to navigate the waters and trying to like repair
the whole
relationships.
family reeling from what happened.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah,
Like, I thought it was a very well done like coming of age comedy.
Right.
Like, they introduced a lot of things where like it's kind of the cliche stuff you expect, where like girl trying to deal with relationships and the idea of like growing up and a lot of things like that. But they introduced so many good like new things to it that a lot of movies won't really address.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that the very start of your movie is her saying how she's sitting with a grandmother as she's near her deathbed, and the advice from the grandmother is, I'm going to tell you something very important. Learn how to give a good blowjob. And it's like, from there, I'm like, that's absolutely something someone's grandmother has said to them and scarred them for life.
Probably.
And that's why I really enjoy this film, because it's like, how would you deal with something like that? That's such an absurd situation.
Total, WTF moment. Like, whoa.
And it really set the movie off right.
I also loved, it took place in 2003, which is, crazy to think that was 15 years ago.
It's like nostalgic for people now.
And the set decoration and the attention to details I thought was great, from the cell phones to using Ask Jeeves
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah.
To
times.
like the old iChat.
The AIM messenger. As soon as it started making the sounds, I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, so they did a great job with that. I thought she was really, really talented.
Yeah.
And she's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Joey King.
Yeah, she's done a bunch
actress.
of like big budget movies.
Yeah, she's been around.
She was in White House Down. She was Channing Tatum's daughter.
I've never.
Oh, really?
I haven't seen anything else.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but I really liked her. I think
smaller
she's.
roles.
She was in The Conjuring. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oz the Great and Powerful. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think she was. She's gonna be.
She's only 19 right
yeah,
now.
she's super young. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, no, she was really good. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Now, are you a fan of like independent dramedies?
Yeah, I don't see. Honestly,
Coming of age, you know.
Yeah. I guess so. I'm trying to think if I didn't, if I wasn't on the show, would I have seen this movie?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I know you.
No, no. But
I probably wouldn't have either.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
And it's limited release, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
playing in a few places.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
a couple theaters.
Yeah.
Very small.
No, it's good. It's good. It was very enjoyable, especially compared to Maximum Impact. That was really bad. But yeah, this was
Total opposites.
very sweet.
Yeah.
I think it had a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
it was good.
anchored it very well.
She did. She
was
did.
good.
And it made me think about my summer of '03.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I wish I don't know. It looked like she had a fun '03. I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of crazy stuff happened, but
Yeah.
it seemed like I don't know. She
She
learned a
would
lot.
have. So wait, she was.
I think
19
six,
No, she was 16 there.
Yeah.
She was okay.
She'd
She was
be
a year.
31 today, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, she'd be 31.
I did the
She'd
math.
be about our age now. Roughly.
Yeah, and we were about her age, given
Yeah.
like 2 years off.
Yeah.
I was 3
in
years
03.
younger.
So are you guys like CJ? Are you comparing yourself like into that?
A little bit,
time
like I
period?
was 13, so I wasn't quite dealing with
Okay.
how do I give a boy a proper name? It wasn't quite ringing through my head yet.
Yeah, me neither.
No, it definitely brought up a lot of nostalgia for me from the time. And
Yeah.
this movie made me realize one thing. We peaked when we had flip phone technology. Like, I miss that so much. Like,
Really?
I like the idea of having my phone, like, as a tablet. I can watch stuff. I can go on the internet. But I miss having the flip phone. Was the greatest thing in the world. Was just flip it open,
Yeah, it was kind
slam
of
it
cool.
closed.
That
it was
moment
so
when you would
great.
open it and just it's kind of cool.
I really want to just go back to having the flip phone and just keep my other phone as just like a tablet that I can use for internet stuff.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
yeah, I definitely could do that, but texting was awful. That was the
Oh
worst
God,
thing. When you had to type like
5
each
minutes
button
it would take you to hide.
4 times to hit one letter. It's
Yeah.
like that was definitely the worst. And watching her doing that was making me like, oh, we did do that. didn't we?
It hit a nerve, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah.
Out of 5 stars.
I'll give it 3.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
give it-
I would have thought 3.5 for you.
Yeah.
Or 3 1/4.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually a 4-star. It's out of 4, isn't
Is it 4?
usually?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
There's different metrics for different
Yeah,
things.
Yeah.
there is. I'll do it.
No, Leonard Moulton. You're right. Leonard Moulton was 4.
I always
4
thought it was
stars.
a 4. I'll definitely give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
And I'll give it 2.5 to 3 stars.
Okay.
Now I'm like, not,
All right. Oh, I see.
Yeah. 3 stars. 3 stars. It got it.
How many? Yeah.
Out of 4 stars, I would say probably 3.5, because I really like dramedy movies like this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, they're
when I
fun.
get to see them, I really enjoy them. One of my favorites was City Island with Andy Garcia. Is a very fun movie, kind of similar concept. It's where it's a Staten Island family. Well, they live in City Island.
Okay.
And it's basically like the father, mother, daughter, son, and they all have problems. And
Is Andy Garcia the dad?
yeah, Andy Garcia's the dad, and he works as a security guard, prison guard, sorry. And he finds out one of the prisoners who's just being released is his illegitimate son. And he invites him into the house to work with them. And basically this kicks off where everyone in the family has a different secret, and then they all get a misinterpretation of like the other person's secret and think something else going on. And it's just very brilliantly done.
And they all fall in love
Yeah.
with the kid, right?
Oh no, they all hate each
they all
other.
hate
They're
him?
like ready to fall apart because like the one person's like, "Why do you have this kid?" It's like the mom tries hitting on the son because he doesn't
City
know it's
Island?
his son. City Island. It's a very funny movie, very out there. But this movie kind of reminded me with it just because each family member had a different thing happening to them, like a different thing to react to, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. Is a lot of the actors played it off very well. Paul Scheer, we didn't really see a lot of him because
Plays
he's
the
not
dad.
there for
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
the movie. So it's like, I think he did the best with what he could. He's definitely the weaker part of it because he's not there. But like the aunt, the mom, the
I thought
cousin,
the mom and Paul Scheer were awful.
They all, really?
Yeah.
I didn't like Paul Scheer at all.
No,
I did. But
they were annoying, especially the mother. She was totally.
The mom, I didn't like when she's like, the dad leaves and she's like dancing around and like.
With the wine.
Yeah.
It was a little.
I mean, that's stuff that's happened with my own family. Is there's been a lot of shit, and people's reaction is, "Yeah, we're gonna drink and just say fuck it." And I'm like, "No, I believe that. That's something that I could actually see a family going through.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's just me and my experiences." So.
All right.
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah.
The other kid actors
I really
were,
enjoyed
not
the
kid, but-
cast.
Yeah.
For like the other teams were very good.
Yeah.
It was better than I
And
expected.
it did capture like just like the house party vibe of being young again and
young again.
Yes.
I've never been to a house party, but it seems like a very good representation.
Seems accurate, I guess.
It reminded me of all the parties I never went to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like
I
where are
went to
these parties happening?
yeah. But no, it was good.
It was watchable.
Definitely.
It was enjoyable.
Definitely
Yeah.
recommend.
Yeah, good acting, especially by Joey King.
Yes.
All right, guys, so our final movie, and then we're going to go into a surprise topic today. But this is our third film of the day, The House with a Clock in Its Walls. And unfortunately, Jared, you didn't get a chance to see it, but you could chime in as needed. But CJ, what do you think of this? It was like a Harry Potter meets Tim Burton, kind of this young kid. He's an orphan.
Young adult. It's like a young adult fantasy kind of movie.
Right. The young orphan moves in with his quirky uncle, played by Jack Black, who actually turns out to be a mysterious warlock. And basically, Jack Black's character is obsessed with finding a clock in the walls of this house that his predecessor left there as like a weird challenge. And basically...
there's a mystery to it that the uncle's trying to figure it out. The young nephew is coming into this and trying to understand this world where he's just lost his parents and he has nothing else in the world now.
He's looking for purpose.
Yeah,
and
now he
Jack
has to
Black,
find this new surrogate family of Kate Blanchett, Jack Black.
Who are magically inclined.
Yeah, you could put it that way.
And they start training.
And just the house with everything going on.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
Which, there's a lot of movies like this where, like, young people move in with, like, new family, there's magic or kind of sci-fi, and it's like, there are a lot of them that are really bad, but this one I actually really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like, I think they handled it in a very nice way. I enjoy the characters. Like, with younger children, it's hard to really get too much of a performance, but I think the kid did a good job for, like, the role he had. He played a good role for the kid.
Owen Vaccaro. He's a talent to watch for.
Jack Black did a good job, which it almost seemed like, I heard a review talking about the movie where it felt like they were trying to go for like a Wolfman Jack kind of vibe, where like Jack Black's actually like almost too young. Like if he was 20 years older, it would have been funnier.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Jack Black's performance. Kate Blanchett was acting so much better than she had any right to in this movie because it's like it's a kid's movie, and she's doing Kate Blanchett.
Well,
like,
she's always a great actress.
I love her. She's one of the best actresses working. Like she will never dial it down. Like she was like, I'm going to be the best part of this movie, and no one can stop me because I don't know how to do a bad performance.
It kind of reminded me, the trailer reminded me of Goosebumps too. I thought it was like a sequel.
You thought it was Goosebumps too?
Yeah.
Because he was in the first one.
It has a very similar vibe, I think, because of like just the color aesthetic to it, and also Jack Black. It's like it really makes me think of it. I enjoyed Goosebumps.
Was it the same studio?
No, because Goosebumps was Nickelodeon, I believe. So I don't know who was involved in this one.
Yeah, and Jack Black, he's not in the sequel. He's not in Goosebumps.
Yeah, he is.
No,
I think he is.
I haven't seen him.
He wasn't. Well, he wasn't promoted on.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailers of him promoted.
Yeah,
no.
I haven't seen him.
They would make that because he was like the only name in this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a cameo or something.
I thought he would, but maybe not.
But Jared, are you into like sci-fi, fantasy, wizard movies?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll see him. Yeah. Curious to know, what was this rated? Was this PG-13?
I think it was PG. Maybe PG.
This one I think was PG. And
Yeah.
So
what
really
really
is-
surprised me is it was directed by Eli Roth, the
Right.
famous horror director.
That's
from
something we should
Hostel,
get into right now.
yeah.
Which
Hostel.
Because it's like, it starts up with like, it definitely is like a PG horror movie for kids. Like, it feels like Harry Potter, but with definitely more horror elements. Like, it never has anything too scary or gory or anything like that. But
I don't know
it
if
has very good suspense and very good sense
I'm not
going to
give anything away, but there was some makeup done in this movie that was really creepy.
Oh yeah,
there's a character
definitely
who's a
some
zombie.
Good. They have some really good effects and work where it's definitely creepy, but it never goes too much where this isn't anything to traumatize a kid.
Right.
But it reminded me of like as a kid watching Gremlins or Poltergeist, where it's like it's a horror movie where like it never really crosses the line too much.
Right, but
Though Poltergeist, there's a scene where the guy peels his skin off.
Yes, that scene definitely.
that scarred me a little bit.
Whereas the rest of it was more or less like manageable for it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Eli Roth directing this one because I was not expecting him to do a kids movie. I didn't know he did this until I saw his name show up, and I'm like, is that a joke? Like,
and he even has a cameo in it too, as a soldier in like an old like serial film.
Yeah, like I love that. I love those old kind of films. So it's like I like that was a plot point of like him being a fan of this cartoon superhero like pulp character.
And this takes place in 1955, right?
Yeah, something like that. 1950s.
It's kind of like a steampunk element, kind of a retro vibe, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it had some good effects. I like the story, the characters. I like a lot of the themes the movie went into. Like I felt were a lot stronger than a lot of these movies are. Because usually it's like we have some kids, we have some magic stuff, and then there's some kind of conflict. We don't really talk about it. Some things happen, and then it just kind of ends. Whereas this one's like, they actually did tell us a pretty good story.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, like, as an adult, I would have wanted to see more backstory with the parents and how they died and, expand on that relationship. But it's a kid's movie. So
kids movie, I don't think you really need too much of the backstory, just like how he's feeling it. Which, one thing I enjoyed is like, as soon as the kid's introduced, where like he's coming in, like you see him, like he's crying over the death of his parents, and Jack Black's first reaction isn't to say like, "Oh, boys, don't cry." It's like he completely validates him for it, and that's something I like because that's a thing a lot of movies do, where like the idea is young boys aren't allowed to show any kind of emotion, whereas in this movie, he's definitely like has a good support system for them, like wanting to help him get over his grief and help him through it, and like allowing him to express emotion for, which I think is a very good message for kids.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot in kids' movies.
Like you really don't. Like usually it's like if it's a young girl, they're allowed to be like, oh, it's okay to go through this, but like young films like Harry Potter movie, like you wouldn't see like Harry Potter crying and being told like, oh, it's okay. Like you don't see that.
Right.
Because it's something that like they don't try and teach kids, and that kind of leads to a lot of problems later on. So I enjoyed a kids movie where they're like, the young boy lost his parents. It's okay that he cries. It's completely acceptable.
Right. To show emotion, that's human.
And it's weird that that's a groundbreaking thing because like I can't think of another kids movie where I really see like a young boy crying without being told to like man up, or like that's something he has to overcome. Is like, oh, you can't cry anymore.
Yeah, you can't suppress emotions, and it gets worse. Now, is this a series, CJ? You're a writer, so you might know better than me.
I haven't read these books, but I know it is a book series. Yeah. Like I don't know how truthful it stuck to it. I know
I could see more of these.
The first one was
I'm sure that's what they're thinking.
The House with the Clock in its Walls, and I think there were 14 books like over a period of time. Like this is back in the 70s, going into the 80s. I think was like when these books were written, and they have a really good art style to them, which the movie doesn't represent at all, and it's almost interesting.
You mean the illustrations?
Yeah, they have like a lot of really good illustrations in the book where it's like a very scratchy black and white style, which
sketch, like
almost sketchwork, where like it's a very creepy kind of imagery. Like
that reminds me of remember the ghost stories that'll freak you out?
Yes, Tales to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
They're making a movie about that.
I heard that.
Yeah, and that looks amazing. If it's going to have anything like the art style to it,
it would be great if it was just a series of all the stories back to back.
That's what I think it might be. It's like an anthology
kind of like
thing.
a Tales from the Dark Side, or something.
Right.
I hope that it's almost animated in that style because those illustrations were
terrifying,
so creepy.
Yes.
Like that stuff I love.
No, that would be amazing.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I hope that they stick to the actual stories and not just come up with something new.
And they back to House with the Clock in its Walls. These characters are so colorful, so well developed. I could definitely see this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I want to see another movie, another installment.
Yeah, like there could be a few more things of like the kid learning more of becoming a warlock, just other things coming into it. But I think they set a good groundwork for this because it didn't feel like we're doing this just to set up a series, which is what a lot of other films do.
Right.
Where it's like, we're just going to give you an hour-and-a-half trailer of a really bad setup, and we'll make good movies after this, we promise. Whereas this one's like, it was a good movie on its own. Like, if they don't make any more, it would still stand up.
That's a good point.
And if they make other movies, like, I'd be interested to see it. You've developed the characters. There's more to go into.
Definitely. I want to see more of this. It's just a great fantasy, sci-fi, horror blend. The only issue I had was the pumpkin scene. There was a pumpkin scene where they had to shoot them with an umbrella, a magical umbrella that shot.
Yeah, they have like one scene where it's like CGI pumpkins, which is a little much because it doesn't really look too good.
That was really,
I feel like that's a scene where like they think kids would like it, so they put it in. But there's a lot of it that's really well done, where it's just a sense of suspense. Like when the kid first walks into the house, there's like stuff moving around behind him and like stops when he looks. So it's like it's definitely, we can see what's going on with this house, but the young kid can't. It's how he learns about it.
Right.
And I think it was very well done. Like Eli Roth definitely brought a good horror sensibility of like suspense to it. whereas he didn't need to go into like gore or anything too shocking. Like it was really a good sense of like atmosphere in the house that I think he nailed.
I think he kind of like tried to basically clone Tim Burton's style.
I don't think so, because it's like I don't see like definitely like a kind of creepy kids thing, but Tim Burton has a much more distinct style to himself, and I didn't really see that showing up a lot. Like,
I could have totally seen Burton directing this though.
I could see him doing a different version of this. Like he made Miss Peregrine's Home for Gifted Children.
That was actually unfortunate.
I didn't enjoy it as too much because it's like the plot was all over the place, and it's like it had some elements
was tighter.
of it. This was a very tightly done story. And
no, I was going to say it sounds like it'd be interesting if Barry Sonnenfeld was considered for this.
Interesting.
Yeah, with his
because of the Addams Family, Men in Black.
And the Men in Black, weird kind of.
He's got
style.
like a Burton feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That would have been an interesting choice. Maybe he could have produced it. But anyway. 4 stars. How many would you give it?
Definitely like 3.5 stars out of 4. Like
yeah.
I very much enjoyed it. Like I don't know how I'd feel about it if I was a kid when I saw it, but as an adult I appreciated the sensibilities of it.
Nice.
So hopefully kids enjoy it.
I think they will. Kids are smart these days. So.
Yeah, it was a fun, good story. A lot of good themes dealing about loss and trauma and overcoming it with family. Very well done.
It's a perfect movie because kids and adults can both relate and enjoy it. Yeah. So that's what a good movie should do. It should appeal to the masses, in my opinion, personally.
You're the only one who saw all 3. How would you rate all 3?
House with the Clock in the Walls is definitely at the top of that list. Summer 03 is right in the middle, a little bit above the middle.
Yeah.
And Maximum... I almost called it Maximum Garbage.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maximum Impact is definitely it's not even on the list.
Yeah.
It's off the radar. Way off the radar.
Let me just say, I would watch a movie called Maximum Garbage about an action garbage man having to grab a gun and shoot some people. Like, I would watch that.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Tom Arnold.
yes, as a garbage.
So, so guys, what are you watching on TV these days? We don't really talk about TV on Under the Radar, but since Jared, you're new, and I know you're a TV guy.
Yes. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Good.
I haven't seen the new season
yet.
Just
came back.
That's
First
still
episode
going?
horrible, but I think that was intentional.
It happens sometimes, where like there's an off episode.
It was off. Second one, I mean, I love that show so much, so I'm gonna keep watching.
Yeah, it's
for
me, it's one of those shows where there can be very bad episodes for it, but there are also amazing episodes.
There
but it's
are.
like consistently, it's more better than it is bad.
Yes, I agree. Danny DeVito is a genius
great actor.
in that role.
Very funny.
Great. So watching that.
Cool.
I love a lot of the '90s shows. So. DVR Home Improvement.
Good.
The Golden Girls.
Do you watch
The
Last Man Standing?
No, I never watched it. Watched it. It's coming to Fox.
One episode.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. Am I thinking of the Tim Allen one that got canceled?
The new Tim Allen one. It's back.
It's back on Fox. Yeah. Never watched it.
No interest either.
Yeah.
CJ, what are you watching these days?
Just finished BoJack Horseman. The new season just came out, which I really enjoyed the season. Usually each season tries to build up to some horrible, devastating thing that happens in the finale, but I felt like this was a smaller one where it wasn't like building up to that, but it did amazing stuff like playing around with story structure and like for an animated show, it took like a lot of different changes and creative directions that I enjoyed.
Okay.
And I feel like it's setting up what's going to happen next season. But I've seen a lot of shows trying to deal with like the Me Too movement that just started happening and like how it deals with it. And I feel like this show nailed it better than anything else I've seen.
Okay, cool.
Because it has a lot of stuff where, like, if you've seen the show, the main character, BoJack Horseman, is Phil is like an old TV star who's
he's a
done
horse,
a lot
by the way. Yeah.
He's a horse. He's done a lot of horrible shit. Like, it's such a fun show where it's like it has brilliant, witty comedy to it, and then also goes into some very dark places. But it deals with who you are as a person. Like, can you ever be forgiven for something horrible you've done, or are you able to actually move on from it?
Right.
And the kind of answer it seems to give is like, yes, but only if you actually want to change. Like, it has the actor
it's that
where like
deep?
it does. Like, it goes that deep. Like, one episode has an actor who's the Mel Gibson stand-in where he's like says something about every nationality out there and like says that he wants to have sex with his daughter and just like who does horrible shit. And the episode is about he's on his forgiveness tour where he's moving around saying I'm sorry, and he's given a forgiveness award, and now it's like he can finally be allowed to act again because he just has to go through the motions. But he keeps saying it, and whereas BoJack Horseman's like, oh well, I don't like this guy, I'm gonna like say he's obviously bad, and people claim he's a feminist icon now because he's the one who's like, no, we shouldn't forgive this guy. He did a horrible thing. It's like, we shouldn't choke women. And people are like, I finally understand feminism. A man just needed to say it. And they play with that the whole episode.
Wow.
And then, of course, BoJack has done his own horrible stuff to women. And when that's brought up, it becomes a question.
That deep, the messages.
On the surface, it's talking animal people and like funny stuff about Hollywood, and there's very light, fluffy episodes. And then it goes into alcoholism and deep depression and like mental illness and a lot of interesting aspects like that. It's absolutely a show worth checking out.
Now, a show that also deals with a lot of heavy issues, but in a lighthearted way. Jared, I know you're a fan of Seinfeld.
Yes. I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah, a few, just a few.
Yes.
You don't have the box set like I do.
No.
But yeah, some of your favorite episodes.
Oh man, love Seinfeld because it's on all the time. Of course, I tend to like the earlier episodes.
Yeah. The banter between Jerry and George is stronger.
I feel like they were more dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
Or dialogue heavier.
Yeah.
And I usually, because they're on every night at like 11. No, actually, King of Queens is on at 11. But I have them DVR'd all the time, and I know them so well. I just fall asleep to them and just listening to the Seinfeld.
Or you could quote it all day like you do with me.
Yes, we do. But yeah, the Pen is great.
Oh, God. Take the Pen.
Yes, the Chinese restaurant. I like the ones.
Right?
Yes, I mean they're genius. And
it's a great show.
Yes.
CJ, are you mild fan?
I've seen a lot of episodes of Seinfeld. I haven't watched like the whole series through or anything. I know more or less the setup.
Okay.
I really just enjoy the philosophy of it. That Jerry Seinfeld's like, let me do a show where I'm just going to take one thing of like a social aspect that's like something everyone agrees on is a thing you do that's not written down, and just question why.
Genius.
Yeah. Like, why is this a thing that everyone always does? Like something that's like a social obligation you have to do.
And there are a ton of made-up movies in Seinfeld.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Since we are a movie show.
At least 10, I have to say,
all right,
which I'm going to attempt to...
So we got Rochelle.
Sack Lunch,
starring Dabney Coleman.
Yes.
Cry Again.
Yes. Checkmate.
Death Blow.
Wow.
Oh, there's so many.
There's more. There's definitely more.
I wish I prepared a list for
You
this.
did say Cry Again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Checkmate, did we say?
Yeah, you said Checkmate. Yeah. No, there's definitely more.
So great.
Yeah.
And they all look like really bad movies.
Yeah. No, they're horrible. Yeah, they do look bad. But they did design like a fake movie poster.
For like all of them, or almost all of them.
I think so, yeah.
That's crazy. And this is a funny trivia thing. They do Seinfeld trivia every now and then. One of the trivia questions is, name 5 cassette tapes that Jerry owns that are on his shelf of movies that he owns.
Yeah.
And I got Arachnophobia and I think Child's Play 2.
Yeah. Random.
Strange. Yeah.
Random. I think he has games too, somebody saw.
Yeah, he's like on the top shelf.
Yeah. Yes. How do we know this?
Yeah, we know this. We're sign heads.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what they call us.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite episode that sticks out, like a highlight?
I don't know, because there's just a lot of different ones, so it's hard to say. I think one that's definitely funny for just how horrible it is, where it starts off so innocently, is when Jerry's dating a woman with like a lot of like classic toy collection and like arcade games, and like they have turkey and wine, and she falls asleep, and because she kept saying all episode like, no, you can't play with the toys or anything like that, and then they happen to eat turkey and drink some wine, and she passes out, so he's like, oh, well, I'm just going to play with some of the old video games and stuff.
Basically,
they keep doing that, and it's like, it seems to start innocently, but they're drugging the woman so they can play with her stuff, and it's
on like multiple nights a week.
Yeah, and they don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
Until it's like pointed out to them by Kramer. It's like, so you drug a woman to play with her toys. How does that make you feel?
The Merv
Griffin show.
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Jared.
Yes.
Favorite episode of all time?
Oh God, I don't know.
Or one that just sticks out.
The alternate spot I kind of like when
is that the
Woody Allen? These pretzels are making me thirsty.
yeah. Where George is parking cars for Sid.
Yep.
What do you want to park cars for?
Yeah.
You're a young man.
I know yours though.
Yeah.
The dealership.
Well, I think it's tied with that and the movie.
And the movie, yeah.
Where they all go to the movie theater and George wastes 4 movie tickets to try to get in.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just.
I could literally I think if we got stranded on a desert island together, we could entertain ourselves.
Just quoting.
And just like kind of reenacting an entire episode from memory.
And then eat each other, right?
Yes.
Or whoever. So yeah. Great show, classic show.
Yes, classic. And Always Sunny in Philadelphia is kind of like a
modern day,
kind of, but they're just like really, really horrible people.
Oh, they truly are.
Yeah,
like that's part of the fun of the show is that none of these people are role models.
No, they're horrible. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I started watching around the time it came out, a few years later in 08. Came out in 05. It's still going though, right? I thought it ended.
Oh, Always Sunny.
Yeah.
No, still on.
No, it's still going.
And I think it has like the record for the longest running single camera comedy.
Nice.
Yeah, because they had one episode that was one continuous shot.
Yeah.
Which I love that episode where it's the bar is very run down and the health inspector comes and the character who's the dumbest character, Charlie, has this genius plan of like telling people to do like different things that don't make any sense and then they work out. Like he goes to Danny DeVito, it's like paint yourself completely black, grab this recorder, play a C note when I stomp my foot and go down to the basement.
Yes, nice.
And then they go down into the basement and it's like, oh, they have like the CO2 thing's broken, and when they go down there, he stomps his foot, and you just hear Danny DeVito, and then it's like he opens his eyes, and you just see him hiding in the darkness.
Yes.
Like
that's the Carmine.
Yep.
Great episode.
We are actually out of time, but yeah, I want to thank you, CJ, Jared, awesome.
Yes.
And just some announcements before we go. We've got the Over 50 Fair at the Huntington Hilton, Long Island, next Sunday, the 30th. And also Friday, October 26th through Sunday the 28th is the New Life Expo at the New Yorker Hotel in New York City. So I want to thank everyone for watching today. This has been Unger the Radar, and I'm your host, Randy Unger. Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Goodbye.
Under the Radar is all new next week at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with more movie reviews and interviews on Strong Island radio and television. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.